far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for
fight the greatest battle, you need the greatest warriors. But heroes must be forged in ultimate combat, competing for the ultimate prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to Arena of Valor show matches brought to you exclusively by Tesseract Esports. My name is Lakshya, and casting this set, or today's set with me, I have the one, the only, the wonderful Riku.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you very much for that awesome intro, Luxuria.
Whatever happened to yes, sirree?
Yes, sirree! I completely forgot about that bit. But you know what? There's still a lot of series to actually redo that next time. But let's skip right through that.
All right, sure, definitely. But of course, today will be a show match. Basically, to build up into the Arena of Valor, Tesseract Arena of Valor League that will be coming up in the following weeks. So for today's show match, for our first series, we have that of Dejavu going up against NatusVanguard. Would you do the honors of running through the roster for both of these teams?
Yes, definitely. For Dejavu, I love their name, by the way. They've got Instinct, Emo Blaze, ExDee, Diary Devil, Hellseeker, Mukunda, and Lifeline. So as I look at their roles at the moment, it's actually pretty interesting that most of them really specialize in the assassin role, which I'm really curious what they're going to be doing later on towards the draft. Meanwhile, for NatusVanguard, we've got Fuse, Ash, Envy, Bulls, or Boys, Big Paws, Clash P, we've got Aka, and Shashank Jake. Interesting names here.
Shashank Jake. That was one when I was rehearsing before stream, and I was just going through the IGN, and I'm like, Shashank Jake. That sounds like a pretty cool IGN, to be completely honest with you. So, we are, if the players, or rather if the viewers do not already know, we are playing on the AOV India server. So there will be heroes that will not be available just yet for this particular server, but the meta relatively unchanged throughout. It's still very tank-centric, early game, just kills, and just going in for, those very, very snowbally games. So what do you think? How do you think this will be panning out? Because I know you are really excited, as I am, about how the meta will form or meta will be like in this particular server.
Exactly. This is gonna be my first time seeing how how the Indian server or how the meta is gonna be formed. Especially that you mentioned we're gonna head on over to the League of Arena Valor in India, but this is gonna be a show match this time around for tonight. And the preview that I'm looking forward to is that will it be one of those things where they either choose between two types of compositions, where are they going to be facing or going to be forming a heavy dive composition or scale into the late game type of composition where they're going to be protecting their marksmen, or maybe we could see a little bit of switcheroo, since based on the rosters we've been seeing, it's a lot of marksmen and assassins on the board. So most likely, maybe we could see a double marksman composition, maybe.
Yep, but draft is ready. So without further ado, let's just head straight into draft, and then we can have our speculations in there. The first band's already coming through with Zephys and Superman Bando.
Yeah, Superman definitely not a surprise, especially that his kit is just crazy at this point. A lot of disruption, a lot of peel as well. But because of this, we're gonna see Zephys actually being the first pick, and then Joker as a response hover. We'll see what they respond here. I mean, Senio is actually also open as well, but looks like they're gonna be prioritizing the Malak.
Yep, they will be prioritizing the Malak, and I mean, Violet is on the table. Although Violet takes a little more time to scale into that of late game, I still personally find that she's a very, very strong hero even now. Oh, Zaniel getting picked up, maybe locked in right now together with that of Crash. Both of these heroes, very tanky, very good frontliners, and I'm kind of seeing the team comp that's forming through for the side of Dejavu. As for the side of NatusVanguard, or we should just call them Vanguard for now, we have the Malak, we have the Joker. So, and the Lin is actually coming through as well. So, it might just be the Joker be there for the crowd control, and then they are going to protect this Lindis all the way into late game.
One of the really good things about what Vanguard is forming right now is that at least their late game has some sort of safety. They've got the Joker for themselves, but the roam potential and the vision control coming from the side of Vanguard, they've got the Lindis, so I imagine them to really do good early game roams, especially during the mid phases of the game. Meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum, I'm a little bit worried about the Natalia pick. One of the really good things about Natalia is that their burst damage and their party brush potential is just huge, but then again, that's that's a very low mobility hero that they've selected for Dejavu. But then again, it's just all about execution this time around. Would like to correct myself though. It's a Xanis pick, not a Zephys, as it was.
So yeah, it is down to execution, but I've heard a lot from, because I don't play a lot on this server. I've played AOV, but just not on the Indian server. However, I heard from, you know, the back stuff, basically the production of, or rather the behind people, the secret people, the masked people behind Tesseract, and they've been telling me that a lot of times, a lot of games, it's just very early game centric, where they just go in for the kills. They want to just, you know, try to snowball from the start. And looking at the comms coming out from both teams, it's not all of that. A lot of times when you see a marksman, it basically just means that they want to play safe, pretty stagnant, and just want to farm till the late game. And whoever they gets, you know, a slight advantage, whether it's an Abyssal Dragon, 1, 2, or even the Dark Slayer, would have the better late game potential. But Arena of Valor, such a quick paced game, it's just down to one very important team fight if we are taking it to the late game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at their compositions at this point, there's a lot of mobility going around for both sides, but I definitely sort of favor the side of Vanguard, mainly because they have a more solid roaming potential where they could probably take advantage of level 4 and maybe get a pick perhaps, and as long as you do have the vision, at least you do have some sort of information where to go. For some odd reason, I'm not exactly a huge fan of low mobility mages at this point, especially squishy targets, but you know what, we'll just have to see how this pans out.
Yeah, because we are into the game, and as you can tell, both teams playing really, really safe, just clearing out their own jungle, and we're not seeing any crazy invades coming through. Not even a team with the Lindis and the Quicknack, but I may just have to take that back. Okay, so they are just playing very, very safe at this point in time. There's one thing about Natalia that we have to quickly talk about. It's that the wave clear for Natalia in the mid lane, now, granted, she is very slow. She does not have any, you know, flashy movement abilities, but there's one thing for sure, is that she can clear much, much faster as compared to that of Joker. So it's just down to execution, like you mentioned, and I personally think it's just down to the first team fight as well, around that dragon, around that Abyssal Dragon especially.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one thing to point out in the composition as well is that Vanguard has double heals on their side, but due to the fact that they have Natalia forced to take a flicker on their side as well. But I feel like that's already being mitigated by Hellseeker on the Sennial, so I do imagine they make up for the lack of that secondary heal with a Sennial save. I mean, in terms of macro rotations, I feel like on the side of Dejavu, they have more options to play around with the Sennial and try to take a 4v5 fight, which I'm looking forward to once they reach their level 4 spikes.
Yeah, but we do see now Ash going in against Emo Blaze, but we'll have to go out, or maybe able to pick up the first blood. But we'll be heading into a short pause, just for the players to sort things out. They might be experiencing some connectivity issue. But talking about this, we do see a very early assassin. So we all know Quickneck just put out so much buzz in that early game and can pick up easy kills for himself. Whereas for the side of Dejavu, DJV, they do not have that early game assassin that can go around, roam around, and try to pick up kills for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. This is the correct play. Once you reach level 4, you rotate bot. Hopefully you get a pick so that you can make the correct rotation on towards the Abyssal Dragon. Meanwhile, we see that Hellseeker is still not level 4. So this quick level 4 pickup, just to take advantage of Sennial not being able to go down to the bot side of the map and capitalize on that, is the best play possible that Vanguard could do.
Yep, very good rotation coming through from the side of Dejavu, able to just quickly secure the Abyssal Dragon for themselves. So, is it a Dejavu? Oh, sorry, Vanguard. Sorry, that is my bad. I was looking at that. My bad, never mind. So, very good rotations coming out from the side of Vanguard, securing the Abyssal Dragon for themselves. And like you mentioned, there was no response whatsoever coming through from the side of Dejavu, and the only reason being, like you mentioned, they do not quite have, you know, the fast clear in that jungle, and on top of that as well, Natalia do not quite have that movement to just be able to respond in time. So the side of Dejavu is not totally out for them just yet. All they have to do really is just play, you know, much safer as compared to the side of Vanguard. Let them get as many dragons as they want. That doesn't quite matter as long as they don't give away kills.
Definitely. I feel like on the side of Dejavu, they're playing rather safe. They do have the potential to take picks with their slim rotations, especially if you do get the Natalia roaming with you. But with the Jokers staying at the mid side and keep putting down the pressure, it's just really difficult for Natalia to make the movements, because as it is very risky for herself. You only have that one mobility skill, which is your talent, which is your flicker. And I feel like it's a bit risky if you don't assemble all of your teammates to roam with you. But at this point, there's a 3-man rotation at the top side, a lot of pressure onto Hellseeker, which means if you put the Seniel on a leash, that would lessen the macro plays that you could do with the side of Dejavu.
Yep, we all know Seniel is just so very strong because of his ultimate. He can just jump across the map, and as I was saying, that Malok jumped down from the top and we might be able to pick out Hellseeker, taking a couple too many shots from the turret, and Dejavu coming up as well as Lifeline. So unable to pick up Hellseeker from that little fight, but at least they put down the pressure like you mentioned, and the fight is just not yet over. Crash going in. Ooh, Ash as well. Ash very, very low, and Crash using the ultimate, trying to get on the chase onto Clash P. The side of Dejavu may just have scared, or rather, you know, frightened the entire team of Vanguard away, and they might just have this advantage against this top tier turret.
Exactly, and they definitely pushed away Vanguard out of that Sentinel buff as well. But one of the things to point out is maybe they tried to bait out a couple of ultimates just so that the Senya wouldn't be able to catch up, and that would mean Abyssal Dragon is going to be open for the taking once again. Senya will be forced to either pressure topside or maybe walk his way back towards the Abyssal Dragon. But at this point, you know what? They're still going to be playing safe, and they're going to back away and respect that, as the Abyssal Dragon is still up and alive.
Yep, Abyssal Dragon up for the taking, and it's just down to whichever team that can. I mean, you don't even have to pick up kills at this point. You just have to get your enemies down to a low extent where they cannot contest that dragon from you. So that is, I think, what the side of Vanguard would try to do at this point. I mean, even from the little skirmish early on, they just have got nothing against that of Crash when Crash is, you know, has the ultimate up. And that is one thing to know, because, ooh, Abyssal Dragon, as I'm talking about that, Abyssal Dragon gets taken sneakily by the side of Vanguard. So very well done them. And the side of Dejavu, once again, not quite responding in time.
Yeah, at this point they're playing super safe, and Lifeline is so bullied at this point, with Hellseeker forced to use the Sentinel ult just to save that Natalia in the mid lane. And so far, so much pressure coming from... Oh, whoa! The poke from Clash P just eliminated the Natalia. It didn't matter at all that 2 members were just trying to body block the shot from Joker. Man, oh man.
Man, oh man, indeed. And there's a turret dive coming through from Ash. But that is a return kill going over to the side of Dejavu. A little too many turret shots, and you have to pay the price. But however, looking at the goal difference, the side of Vanguard have got a solid 1k gold. It's not too much, but it's really just credited to the 2 dragons taken from them. But Emo Blaze now very, very low, and Balls may be diving onto this turret to just pick him up, or maybe not. Lindis, what are you gonna do?
Oh, super tempted to get the kill. That's a very low slims at this point, but they might be pressured. Thane actually goes for the Valiant Charge with Emo Blaze still alive, forced to back away, but good job on the leap.
Yep, that lip definitely saved his life. Crash coming in, big pause, in a very vulnerable position, caught in between Lifeline and Dejavu. It's so weird to say caught in between Lifeline, because you get what I'm trying to say, but Clash P pushing down this mid-tier turret. Devil not quite responding in time. I'm really liking this rotations coming out from Vanguard. They are very observant firstly, and their map awareness is just very on point, and another fight may just be breaking out. Sinil not in the most comfortable position, as is Emo Blaze on that slim Sage Golem.
Yeah, you gotta love how Vanguard is so patient with their rotations. Their mission is definitely not to kill, but just try to push them away from objectives, and they're pretty much satisfied with that, and they're not gonna be too greedy. And it's paying off really well. They're getting a lot of turrets from top to bot side as well, and the quick rotations on towards the Abyssal Dragon is just making wonders for their team, and it's just gonna slowly pile up, whereas, you know, Dejavu might have trouble catching up.
Ooh, Evil Blaze with that jump might just be able to get away, but Ash goes in for the dive, takes the turret shot, but it's all in a day's work. I'm an assassin, you are not gonna run far, especially with my slows, and that's 3 turrets to none for the side of Vanguard, and I like how you actually put it, they are very patient. But looking at team comp-wise, I have to agree with you. If the side of Dejavu or Lifeline really wants to play a mage, I would have recommended, say, Illumia. Not the most mobile mage around, but at least you have a universal out that can aid your allies in times of need. So that is one thing maybe the side of Dejavu have to think about going into the second draft. But talking about more about this game, just look at the level difference. The side of Vanguard, we have Ash sitting at level 13, whereas the rest on the side of Dejavu just not quite there yet. I mean, Crash is at level 9, the lowest of the game. So the side of Dejavu, I've been saying this since, you know, the start of the game, they just have to play really passive. Try not to allow the snowball to happen. Play by the turret, you know, just stay very, very close to the turret and then just hug that turret for their dear lives.
Exactly. I mean, the power of Natalia is being able to burst someone down and try to line up as much targets as you can with your ultimate. But at this point, there's so many rotations and so many mobile heroes on the side of Vanguard that it's quite hard to catch someone off guard if they know to play around that sort of play style on Dejavu. But in the meantime, we've got them pressuring the jungle side. So at this point, we see that Dejavu is having a hard time finding the right opportunities. And at this point, it's Vanguard dictating the pace of the game. And it's hard for them to find a pick. You could play around the slims, find a pick, and then maybe engage into a 4v5. But because of there's so many towers already down, there's not much space to work around with. But they could play around the Abyssal Dragon if they want to. Just a little bit worried about the level gap that has been happening for the past few minutes.
Yep, level gap and items as well. I mean, just looking at the amount of items coming through from Vanguard and another Abyssal Dragon getting taken once again, and there's just no response whatsoever. I mean, they are playing this right, however. They are going to be playing passive till, you know, coming 15 minutes in or maybe 14 minutes in, at least when the levels balances out. If not the items will be a little hard to catch up, but at least the levels get balanced out, and then maybe, like you mentioned, use Slims to pick 1, 2 off. But then again, Slim's kit is all about really just diving in after you land your stun, and with that it is just so difficult to do so if your entire team just collapse on you. Darkslayer now getting taken, Devil spotting this out, maybe trying to go in for the steal. Zunio Hamsen, and Crash with the Darkslayer still, so this might just be the turnaround. What do you think?
Oh my, it looks like that was an unexpected steal and they still managed to do it. They took the risk and they're rewarded. Dejavu with the fast plays and fast decisions. I mean, that was definitely the correct decision for the side of Vanguard, but knowing that there are like 3 members at the bot side of the map and they had to take advantage of numbers, and they're definitely rewarded. This stalls a lot, but Xanis is in trouble.
But I would not say in trouble, basically obliterated in a matter of seconds, pancaked. I'd say, but I mean, that was a very weird position Xanis was in, allowing just himself to be collapsed, and now Fuse may just be in that same vulnerable position as well, but he will just be just run away. I mean, he's Smarlock after all, but another team fight will be breaking out. Hellseeker in the midst of 4 fires. Will Hellseeker be able to get out? And no. However tank you are, I do not care if you're Zenil or Xanis, you will be going down.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is they took the Darkslayer. Bad news is that they still have a lot of catching up to do. One thing, I guess if I were to name the MVP in this match, it would have to be Ash, because of his fast farming. No one was contesting anything whatsoever. He reached level 4 so early, to the point that he manages to make a lot of movements around the map. and therefore dictating the pace of the game. And from then on, it was just them dancing to their own rhythm, and it's whoa there.
Oh, Mukunda forever, but not so much in this game, getting pounced by all 4 members of Vanguard. And that was just sad. I'm sorry for that, but I had to. Another team fight will just be breaking down. This is a 3v3, so the side of Dejavu might just have a chance. Balls going very low, and Lifeline picking out, and you say that stun, you say that blast coming through, and that is what that happened. Ash right now will be the next target, or would it be Clash B? Crash going in for the side of Ash, and Ash actually picking up one hero, or rather Natalia, and maybe able to pick up Devil, maybe not. Something is happening, I do not know what, but Clash P able to secure one turret for the side of Vanguard, and Hellseeker once again in a very dangerous position and will be going down.
You can tell how Ash on the Cricknack is so confident that he just practically ignored the crash and just went straight to the Natalia. And it worked out pretty well. They still won that clash despite Lindis being obliterated during the initial skirmish. And it didn't matter because a lot of the key painful heroes on the side of Vanguard is still pretty much alive. You've got the Joker, you've got the Cricknack, and at this point it's them cleaning turrets all around, and this time it's Dejavu playing defense. Top side definitely getting a lot of pressure at this point, but we still haven't seen what we wanted to see, where they get the Natalia, and then the Slims getting a pick, some sort of pick, and then able to probably take advantage of a 4v5. But because of the lead that, you know, Vanguard has, it's just really very hard to do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we are looking at all 5 players from the side of Vanguard going in for this mid-tier turret. Will we be seeing any form of dives? Look at the amount of damage onto Lifeline. Not much of a lifeline for yourself, are you? And they will just back up. That is enough damage, and they can just put pressure elsewhere. And that is basically the magic, right? The wonderfulness per se of, you know, being you know, having a lead over your enemies, when you can just scare them, go do something else, go secure another objective, and then come back onto the mid lane that you so very want to push. So the side of Vanguard, they are really doing very well, and this is what I'm talking about. Even Ash went to solo the Abyssal Dragon with all 3 members of Vanguard actually pressuring this mid lane.
Yeah, and they're at the point where they're so comfortable, and Joker could just keep landing all these poke shots, which is one of his very, very his good strengths as a Joker. Clash B, very comfortable. No one wanted to punish and try to dive, even though there weren't much front lines to peel for him. Maybe they're just really respecting how big of a lead Vanguard has at this point. But you can see that the tower is getting poked down so low, so slowly as well. But Cricknack, Ash is actually doing the roams, just trying to see what else he could get, as he is just very, very comfortable at this point, just farming, and then the rest of the members just poking.
Ooh, Clutch P may be in a bit of a trouble. Hellseeker goes in, big pause as well, trying to zone the attackers out, and will be successful with that. And we talk about being very tank-centric in this particular meta, but as well as we cannot quite forget the fact that assassins or the junglers in general would set the pace of, you know, of the game itself. And you mentioned this earlier on, and I can't agree better, or I can't agree more with what you just mentioned earlier on, that, you know, the jungler really set the pace, because if you have the level advantage, like right now, it's an easy game for you. And Crash with the metamorphosis, the ultimate, will be able to pick up Cricknack, and Ash is down. This might just be the turnaround for the side of Dejavu. Will something happen? Will Devil be able to put down the tank? Will Hellseeker be able to do something? Or will they just be running away after picking 1 kill up for themselves? Clash P relentless with the chase, or will they just push down the top turret? They are happy, although giving away 1 kill, but they actually managed to take the top turret for themselves, and another kill going over to the side of Vanguard. Clash B going into a safer position to shoot that ultimate of his, and now Lindis picking up Crash, and Crash is no longer frontlining for the side of Vanguard, and this might just be the end. Pause goes in with the ultimate, not quite landing, as well as Fuse on that Marlow. They are doing very well for themselves, and Fuse just go in, will be able to pick up 1. That would be going to Clash B. And this might just be the first game, as it is an ace, and the core for the side of Vanguard.
Wow, congratulations to Vanguard. That was a very... I mean, even though they were so far ahead in the game, they were still very respectful and very patient in how they would approach attacking the base. You saw that they were the type that wanted to be very calculated. Maybe let's just push through the 3 inner turrets before we could actually push towards the core. And you could see a lot of respect and patience in their play. So just props to them.
Yep. And also to correct my own mistakes, it's not the turret. Apparently, it's called the tower. my sincere apologies. So I got corrected, but yes, my sincere apologies. It's the tower, not the turret. So I'll just remember that from now on. But that was a very good game coming through from Vanguard. The Kriegnack pickup definitely working very, very well for them. And as you mentioned, maybe for the side of Dejavu, not so much of the Natalia. You did not have the early game pressure. Firstly, you couldn't, although you can clear with much faster than the poker from the Joker, but Joker could just rotate much faster compared to a mage per se. So that is one thing that the side of Dejavu have to think about going into the next game, and whether or not they want to prioritize a mage, and if so, maybe prioritize that of Illumia. So looking through the replay for this last team fight, we can see how reserved Clash P is playing on this Joker, able to just go back into the back line. Lindis picking up 1 kill for themselves, and just break it down for us, Riku. So what exactly happened here? I mean, they picked up the early kill for themselves in this particular team fight. When I say they, I really mean Dejavu.
Yeah, even though Ash died already initially, I feel like the other key members that managed to scale well into the late game, Joker can fend for himself anyways, as long as his main pillars, Thane and Malak, is alive. And pretty much, even though it's going to be a 4v5, they'll still be able to win that one, win a clash or a skirmish, as long as they keep their positions in mind, which they did, and they did a really good job. Plus the mere fact, I mean, there is if ever, let's just say they were at even gold and even items, I feel like they could have won that, mainly because there was a position during the initial fight where Ash died on the Kriegnack, where the Natalia had a really good lined up, like maybe 4 members from the side of Vanguard that would eat every combo Natalia would have dished out. But the problem was, it's just not going to be enough. They're just too far ahead. They lack the items, they lack the damage, and therefore, you know, it just pretty much snowballed from there.
Yep. Very well played coming through from Vanguard. I had thought it would be a very slow game in the earlier parts, simply because they did not go in for the crazy rotations, like taking away the red buff or the blue buff. They just stuck to their own jungle. But at the end of it all, it was just down to Kriegnack just making so many plays in that early game, rotating from lane to lane and just picking up 1 kill after the other, getting that level 4 like you mentioned, and just able to just snowball the game from there. Although a lot of good combos coming out from that of Natalia, like, you know, the Arcane Rays, Lethal Rays into the Arcane Nova, or Arcane Nova into Lethal Rays into the Arcane Spirit. So ABC or BAC, just very, very good combos, but it's just not enough, like you mentioned, just not have the items. I kept talking about Illumia because, I mean, if they want someone that is stationary, just able to hold lane, and able to just help out the allies, Illumia will come to mind. But if you're looking for, say, a more mobile hero, a more mobile mage, then maybe pick up that Raz.
Exactly. I would like to agree with you there on the Raz pick. There's a lot of opening and play potential, or outplay potential rather, that you could do if you pick up a Raz, and it really synergizes well with the rest of whatever composition you might want to do. Maybe a dive, perhaps, maybe a poke, because Raz is could be both dive and poke, depending on how you're going to play that hero. Meanwhile, I'm actually quite surprised how they're very, on the side of Dejavu, they're very, what do you call this, reserved on how they make movements around the map. They're a very reactive team, and I feel like if they become more brave in terms of their rotations, for example, if they reach level 4, maybe they could proactively use that sort of thing against Vanguard. Maybe perhaps they could set their own tempo in the game this time around for the next game. I mean, it's a best of 3 series.
Yeah, but the one thing about Zanu is that although he was placed in that of the top lane, he was up against Marlock. But constantly you'll see like Cricknack, if not then the mid laner like that of Joker going up into the top lane, just putting so much pressure on Zanu. So much so that even when Zanu had the ultimate unlocked, he wasn't able to just, you know, traverse the entire map onto the ally, to the bot lane or the mid lane to just help his teammates. So that is one thing, you know, we may have to consider. I mean, Zanu is a very good pick, right? You have so much CC, you have healing as well. But when your enemies is just farming so much faster, getting the level so much faster, there is one thing about your team comp that you have to truly think about.
Exactly. One thing I do notice on the side of Dejavu that they could most likely improve on is that normally you see bot side, their bot side is that there's always two in their lane, which I normally would normally see that there's always a roamer on their side, which would mean, since, you know, Arena of Valor doesn't have, you know, like wards and all that stuff, they do have the Lindis. There are a bunch of heroes that provide vision, but in this point, you just gotta constantly move around the map, which I sort of expected in Arena of Valor. But I guess I feel like that's something that they could improve on, which is their rotations, more like movement around the map, just to gather information on where they could go next, because I see constantly Vanguard is the one getting all the information, and therefore they're the ones who get to make the right decisions. And I feel like maybe that's something we could see at game number 2.
And we noticed as well, talking about the bottom lane, Crash was up against Lindis. So Crash was up against Lindis. So if you think about that, you know, Lindis actually has got much more poke compared to that of Crash. I mean, Crash really have to dive really deep, although you have the health barrier after your dive, but it's just not enough, especially when Lindis is paired up with a roamer. So that is one thing that maybe the side of Dejavu have to reconsider as well. I think it's just down to the team comp, and once they have the right team comp, because they are so reactive, I think they know how to play their game well. And on top of that as well, because Lindis clears the lane so much faster compared to Crash, then she can constantly take that vision bird, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping to see, most likely what you just said, improvements on their composition as well, which will allow them to make more movements. And I do understand that, you know, their composition for Dejavu is also a very good composition when it comes to punishing certain aggressive movements. But then again, if you're quite behind in items, then maybe you'll not be able to capitalize on that sort of thing. They do have the Sentinel, they do have the Natalia, and as well as the stun coming from the spear of the Slims, which we haven't really seen during the early phases of the game. During the mid phase, it was just more of them trying to defend their towers at that point, and everything getting taken away by Vanguard.
Yep, and we do know as well, Slim's stun is just so very strong in the early game, because you can actually send it out without showing yourself, and once you get the stun off, and then you jump in, get down your basic damage, and then you're able to basically just push the enemies away from the lane itself into the turret or back into base. So there's something that we didn't see. So maybe it's not a composition. Okay, partly it is about a composition, but it's just that whatever that they have, they didn't play well. They just didn't. It wasn't cohesive per se with their play style, at least.
Yeah, I mean, moving over to Vanguard as well, they did a pretty good job. They know what to do. They scaled so well. I did mention during the drafting phase is where every phase of the game is pretty much locked in. Like in early game rotations, when they reach level 4, they've got the Cricknap with a really good bursty damage. Mid phase, they've got the Thane and the Lindis with the roam and the vision, the utilities there. When late game comes, that's being secured by Joker. So all around, they've got pretty much all phases of the game secured for themselves. If something else fails from early to mid, at least they've got the late game for their side. So I'm really excited what's going to happen for game number 2.
Yep, I am as well, and so must be the viewers. So without further ado, let's just head straight into draft and see what Vanguard or Dejavu will bring out this time. They are thinking and currently thinking about their bans. So maybe ban out the Cricknack for the side of Dejavu. I mean, Dejavu Ash on their Cricknack is just so very, very scary in that of the early game. First bans coming through, Superman, not a surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, Superman, super duper strong, sort of hard to counter at this point, and Joker being such a priority this time around, we'll just have to see in terms of execution. But meanwhile, Kilgroth and Lindis actually being hovered and locked in.
Yep, Kilgroth has a very unique passive per se. Well, whenever he attacks enemies, then he attacks faster and faster, and then he has lifesteal as well. So he's one of those very tanky warriors that it's so difficult to take down. When Kilgroth was first released, I was up against him in a casual match, and I was wondering what did I do wrong to actually deserve Kilgroth on the enemy's team. But now, on the side of NatusVanguard, we will be seeing Slims and Crash coming through, Lindis, Thane and Zenial getting locked in by the side of Dejavu. So they are going to stay with heroes that they are comfortable with, like that of Zenial, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's like a swaparoo. They got the Lindis, they got the Thane away from Vanguard this time around. But I like to agree with you there on the Kilgroth. I did come across a Kilgroth as well in one of my matches, and it was just when you allow it to snowball, it's just really difficult to counter, especially if your teammates don't know how to play around it. But I'm actually liking this Alice pick. I was looking for this Alice pick because this actually secures your really good roam and your really good support and protection from your side. But then again, they're going to be very heavily reliant on the Kilgroth with the draft that they've actually composed this time around. And I feel like I'm very confident this time on how this is going to pan out, because this is very different from what they've created from the previous match, and maybe this is something that they're more comfy at.
Yep, with two... Was it two? No, with one marksman for themselves, that's Lindis, and we saw how strong Lindis is in that early game, just able to poke out the lane matchup for herself. So that is one thing that, you know, that did very well for the side of Vanguard, just able to just push Crash out from Dejavu. However, they still have the Crash for the side of Dejavu, and I mean, we saw a steal coming through. It was unexpected, but it was a steal after all. So the side of Dejavu, they must be really comfortable on this particular Crash pick. So I'm hoping to see if the side of Dejavu can actually turn this game around, push it to the third game, because I mean they have the potential. It's just that they were very worried, they were really scared because of the quick neck in that early game.
Exactly, and I'm really happy because this actually secures their 3-man rotation or their 3-man squad. You could actually pair Lindis, Senial, and Alice is actually okay. But I would rather see a Lindis being replaced by the Kilgroth when they do their skirmishes and stuff like that. Because if you just pretty much assist and peel for your Kilgroth and just keep him alive, and then it's just a really huge monster, especially if you get him manage to snowball. But on the other side of the spectrum, I believe I saw an Astrid on the opposite side. Is that correct?
Yes, there was an Astrid.
Astrid, I'm a huge fan of the Astrid. I feel like there's gonna be a Senial and Astrid matchup at the DS lane or the top side of the map. I'm just guessing. It's a very popular matchup, I think, in your region, Luxuria.
Yes.
Which I see very most often, the Astrid and Senial matchup.
I mean, because Astrid can hold her lane pretty well, to be quite honest. She's just so very tanky. I mean, just look at her passive, Bladed Guardian. HP falls below 80%, she gets a shield that lasts for 4 seconds, and that is when you see a lot of Astrid that go ham, right? With it, just because you can just absorb so much damage during that 4 seconds itself, and then you have your spin slash that can actually just duel with your enemies very, very comfortably. But now we are a lot of focus on this Dragon Lane once again, the Abyssal Dragon Lane, and we have the Lindis. Again, same side, up against the Crash and the Slims as well, but it's just now the heroes picked up, same thing, but it's just a different team playing them.
Exactly, and I do understand the logic between this. Thane will do the roams, and Lindis will be safe in lane with a lot of utility on board. But look at that, we might see the first clash of the game.
Yep, we might see the first clash between Clash P and I Am Boss. coming down from the top lane, showing who the boss is, and will be slithering back up and back into the jungle, back into the top lane, wherever that Kilgroth goes. And you mentioned something very, very interesting earlier on during the draft phase itself. You say Kilgroth, Alice, and that of Lindis. Oh, I may just have to pause that.
We'll have to see there, as Mukunda is super low at this point, decides to run away, gets the hit from the Joker poke, but looks like it's gonna be enough for them to just scare them away, clear the lane, and maybe get Abyssal Dragon control.
Yep, I mean, 4 heroes all down in that AD lane, so they have a very good chance. And 2 level 4s, 1 level 3, oh, just turned level 4, that Lindis, but Alice is still level 3, do not quite have access to that level, to that silence and stun, I think. But then we have Fate as well at level 2, and Abyssal Dragon will be secured by Ash. Once again, a quick deck putting so much work in this early game. Kilgroth at level 5, but will be backing off. I don't think the side of Dejavu should really look for a fight at this point. I mean, just look at the team comp coming through from the side of Vanguard. They are very comfortable, regardless of whether they have a Lindis, they have a Thane, or they have a Slims and Crashed.
Good play there. Again, very, very patient. All they had to do was scare them away, and they're not the greedy type of team for on Vanguard's side where, okay, we got the Abyssal Dragon, maybe we could get some more, maybe we could be extra aggressive and perhaps get a kill or 3 or something, but they did not. They, after getting the Abyssal Dragon, they immediately respected Vanguard, or Dejavu rather, and just immediately backed away and then proceed back to farming. They're a very objective-centric team, which is I'm really enjoying a lot.
I am as well. I mean, looking at the rotations, it's pretty clean, I would say. They go down to try to force the enemies out, and then in which get everyone low. Like now, Emo Blaze going down, and that is the first blood going to Clash P, and the next will be Mukunda forever, and that is double kill for Clash P on that Joker. Doing very well for themselves, and the bottom turret may just potentially, I say potentially, but will definitely be falling.
Wow, that was a great ult from the Crest as well, and because of the damage coming from the side of Vanguard, they definitely know their spikes and know that they gain the advantage in terms of, you know, ganking and roaming and stuff like that, and it worked out well in their favor. It's just so hard for Dejavu to catch up and try to counter these plays, despite the fact that they do have a lot of utility on their side as well. So if you don't get to use that utility, then that's something that they could take advantage of for the side of Vanguard, and they did it pretty well. They're the type that, okay, we'll go in and we'll go out. We're not going to take anything more. We're not going to be greedy. We know our priorities, and we're just going to stick with that, just so that we will not give any consolation prize whatsoever.
Yep. Do not give any consolation prize, but we might see a steal coming through from the side of Dejavu. I thought it would be a Dejavu, but not so much now. Dejavu actually missing on 2 dragons right now, so gold lead is for the side of Vanguard. So Vanguard looking very, very strong, and once again, very clean rotations coming through from the side of Vanguard. You know, in the previous game, I said that Dejavu can wait till late game and then they will soar somehow. But in this game, Riku, tell me, what Dejavu have to do?
The thing is, for me, you have to really power up Iron Boss here on the Kilgroth. This is your potentially main damage dealer. You do have the Lindis on your side, but I feel like Lindis is a very utility-centric marksman. Unlike the Violet, unlike the Joker, your late game potential is not secure if you don't have any of those marksmen. Lindis is definitely something more of an assistive damage, and will really help you towards making the plays, making the roams during the early to mid phases of the game. And we don't see that at this point, mainly because of how Vanguard is doing the really scary rotations, aggressive rotations rather. And again, if Kilgroth doesn't get ramped up soon, it's really not gonna help their situation even more, because if you look at it, that's 2 marksmen on their side, which means they're gonna scale super duper scary. Plus, if you add the peel coming from their side as well, then it's something very problematic to counter when late game comes.
Yep, and there's one thing though, in the earlier part of the game, Kilgroth was same level as that of Ash. Issue is that Ash actually made basically made the plays, made the rotations, went in from lane to lane to try secure a kill or put pressure down on the lane. However, Kilgrot did not do quite that. He went down, that's true, he rotated, he went down into the mid lane, and then he went down to the bottom lane, but he couldn't put on any form of pressure whatsoever. But I am boss right now, maybe trying to prove me something or prove me wrong, but Crash's ultimate coming through, and I am boss just have to slither away, skitter away. Oh well, that even save his life. Abyssal Dragon getting secured by the Joker, and now another pause coming through mid-fight, and this might just be a tactical pause coming through from Dejavu to try to scare that of Vanguard away, and Vanguard may just be scared away because the fight will still be continuing on, but Dejavu will not be suffering any form of further loss. Top lane getting taken by Astrid, so this is one thing that the side of Dejavu really have to think about when coming into the trades like this.
Exactly, and you see another example of how objective centric this team is. Vanguard just prioritizes the AD, and then suddenly you find them being zoned out. The side of Dejavu not able to contest whatsoever. You know how much they respect a potential steal, which happened earlier at the Darkslayer at game number 1. They don't want it to happen again, so what they did was they tried to zone them as far away as they can, so no potential steals whatsoever, and it worked out in their favor. And at this point, they're now knocking on that second tier tower at this point, and all they could do now is just try to defend. But as you can see, Hissy Fit already being thrown down in so no ult from the Alice for a couple of seconds.
Yep, no ults whatsoever, but let's see if the side of Dejavu will be backing off and allowing this turret to fall, because we are seeing all 4 members coming down on this second tier turret pretty hard. Ash in that mid lane, trying to find a mid lane as well. So very good rotations coming through. They are actually split pushing. Astrid getting the top turret, and then although they are forcing the objective in that Abyssal Dragon lane, they are accomplishing something somewhere else. So I'm really liking how Vanguard is playing right now. Dejavu, however, you know, they have very strong heroes. Kilgrot, very good snowball potential when you play him right, and he could have easily actually just ganked, because I was talking about earlier on when Kilgrot just did not care whatsoever. He didn't go down to the lanes, he didn't camp at the lanes, he couldn't at all secure anything from those lanes that he was on.
Uh-oh, looks like there's gonna be a dive as the ult actually hits 3 people. Lindis is just trying to back away for now. Hellseeker's super low at this point. And as you can see, they're just trying to defend the turret. They try to dive. Dire blow, not gonna be enough. Killdrop is forced to back away. Ash wanted to dive and kill, but the tower hit will finish him off. Looks like that's the first greedy play I've seen from Vanguard in this series.
Yep, that might just be the first, but I mean, even that was the first, but we saw that at least they can and will be able to get this turret down. I hope. I'm kind of not able to watch what is happening right now, so I'm just gonna make a far guess. Or maybe Riku, you can tell me whether or not.
Alright, so what happened there was they wanted to get the dive, probably take a kill. Maybe they could have focused on the turret instead, but they wanted more kills, and Ash had to suffer from that. Meanwhile, they got split pushed by Dirty Devil here on the Senio, who used the ult. Cricknag has no CC, no hard CC, and therefore the ult channel will not be cancelled, and he'll go back safely to his own base. But then again, there's still a lot of leads on the side of Vanguard at this point. But stuff like that could be capitalized on. When I said stuff like that, I meant greedy mistakes or greedy plays that they could take advantage of. I mean, they're still pretty strong at this point, a lot of kids, but I am boss in the middle of it all.
Yep, in the middle, but you have to take this on because I can't quite see anything right now, so go for it, Riku.
No problem. At least I Am Boss is still safe for now, and he goes back to his own lane. No kills whatsoever, but because of I Am Boss already being pushed down, and this is Vanguard's chance to actually go aggressive on the Darkslayer. Again, this might be the first time we're going to see a 5v5 team fight, as they are taking the Darkslayer already. They've already gotten it. Lindis already putting in the traps, try to land some hits. Bane uses the Valley Charge just to go away. Shashank Jake actually leading the front line. No, I take that back. That's actually Ash manages to eliminate I Am Boss. Where's their damage now? Only the Lindis back. Semio will just ult. Does he land some heals here and there? But at this point, they're in between two towers. But look at that! Balls with the last hit on towards that hero this time around. We'll see an instant replay. But that was just crazy at this point. As you can tell, at this point, Vanguard is so in the lead. They have so much room for these types of aggressive plays, and that's the dire blow being maximized and a lot of heals here and there. But as you can see, they're not backing down. Vanguard knows that they're in a huge lead, and they're going to be keeping up with the pull. Same strategy with what happened with game number 1. Clash P just going to keep an eye on his position. No more, no more hissy fit anymore for a couple of seconds. And Hellseeker, as you can see, getting poked out by the Joker. And at this point, though, it's really, really worrisome. This is a best of 3 series, take note. And they're already at the base. Very, very good game from the side of Vanguard. They're pushing them back towards their core. And congratulations, that ends our best of 3 series between Vanguard and Dejavu. That's going to be a 2-0. Are you here, Luxuria?
Yes! There's one thing that I have to make clear. I couldn't see anything at all whatsoever earlier on. So I'm just gonna make a guess that Vanguard won based on your commentary. Yes, and in a very significant fashion and very confident fashion as well. And I'm looking at a replay right now, but it's just so very pixelized. The core is breaking, it's shattering, and it's all coming back to me right now. That is good news. It's all coming back to me. That is good news. Congratulations, GGWP to Vanguard. One of the cleanest games I've seen, even when I play VG, right? So, AOV. And I play in pretty high tiers. I'm not high, but I think Master, I believe, the last one. And when I'm there, even my games are not this clean because of greed, right? But you mentioned time and time again, Vanguard is just playing around these objectives. They do not care whatsoever about kills. And basically the information given by production was wrong. They told me that, you know, this server enjoys farming kills, but it's just not so at this point, at least that's what I'm watching. Yeah,
based on what we've seen from Vanguard, they seem to be leaning towards, I just want to make sure that we get the objective and minimize the chances of them getting back into the game or our enemy getting a kill or two so that they could probably even out the gold. They're actually very satisfied just taking the objectives and running away and fighting another day so that they could keep piling up these leads. But I guess you could tell in game number 2, they're more comfy in terms of getting these greedy plays. You saw Ash just diving right in. They're comfy. They know that they are in a position to make those sort of greedy plays. And you saw during the final 2 clashes where they didn't bother to regenerate. They're fine. They do have the Dark Slayer buff anyways. It's take advantage of that. And they just pushed on with their lead, never coming home, just waiting for the ults to come back online and just driving them back towards the base and just finishing the core.
You know, there's one thing for sure. I really think that Mukunda forgot to drink the Black Panther potion.
Oh no, you're so right there, Luxuria.
Okay, but whatever it may be, this is only the first series of the day. We have another one that will be coming up pretty soon, and it will be, according to a lot of players, or rather what my information tells me, it is ExDee Gaming, and they are all conquerors. I mean, in tier, they're all conquerors, they're all professional players, and they are one of the best teams made of the best players in India going up against FewGoodMen. So I'm really interested to see what they will bring to the table, whether or not they will be farming for kills, or will they actually be going playing like Vanguard, just very decisive on what they want. They do not really want to kills. They want to just build up this slow lead into that final showdown, in that this final fight. But anyways, we'll be going into a quick and short break, and when we come back, we'll be seeing the second series. I'm Luxuria, and casting alongside me, I had Riku, and we'll see you very soon.
Superman can crash enemy team formation as a warrior, or can quickly finish enemy targets when they are running low. Speed is power. If you are not a tanky hero, then whenever you see a Superman flying, stay away from him. Passive flight. Superman has two modes, flying and walking. He gains 2% movement speed and charges energy for every 100 units he walks, and takes flight once energy is fully charged. Flight mode grants 20% movement speed when moving towards an enemy, and his normal attacks deal additional damage equal to 12% of his own maximum HP. Superman exits flight mode when he is hit with a control effect that lowers his movement speed to 375 or less. Superman's passive is the key to deal high damage, so make sure he can be in flying mode as frequently as possible. To make sure he can take off quickly, a recommended item is Gilded Greaves. It can prevent Superman from being slowed down. First ability, Kryptonian Strength. Superman uses his Ice Breath to generate a blizzard that deals physical damage to enemies and slows their movement speed by 50% for 1 second. If in flight mode, Superman rams into enemies, dealing 12% of maximum HP physical damage, and then fires his heat vision, dealing an additional physical damage. Superman's main ability to deal damage, it is recommended to level up first. If Superman is in flying mode, the first ability can also knock back enemy targets. That being said, you can now get behind enemy's team and push them to your teammates or tower. Second ability, Man of Steel. Superman unleashes his full power, which immediately frees him from control effects and significantly increases his movement speed. If in flight mode, Superman will slam the ground and knock back enemies, dealing physical damage as well as rid himself of control effects and increase his movement speed. Although Superman's second ability can boost movement speed, but due to its long cooldown, it's not a good idea to use it at first. Try waiting for enemies' control abilities, then unleash Man of Steel to offset them. Ultimate Speeding Bullet. Superman taps into his full potential, which increases his charge-up speed by 100% for 10 seconds. If in flight mode, Superman will ram into his enemies and knock them back, dealing physical damage, and have his charge-up speed increased by 100% for 10 seconds. While flying, Superman's ultimate is a crowd control ability. He can use it to push away enemies' targets when teammates are running low. When playing Superman, here are some of the tips to remember. 1. Superman can provide fast support. After cleaning the waves, Superman should always be looking for support opportunities in the first time. This will make it easy to outnumber opponents and win the battle. 2. Superman is a great threat to enemy squishy heroes, so attack from behind enemy's team is definitely a good choice. If successful, this can nuke down enemy's carry in seconds. 3. Purify and Execute is recommended for Summoner's skill. Purify can prevent Superman from being slowed down to make sure he can fly, while Execute can boost Superman's damage to nuke down enemy. Thanks for watching today's episode. See you again next time.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. Say there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
To fight the greatest battle, you need the greatest warriors. But heroes must be forged in ultimate combat, competing for the ultimate prize.
Hello, and welcome back to the Arena of Valor show matches brought to you by Tesseract Esports. My name is Dennis. It's Luxuria, not you can call me Dennis too. And casting this series and the final match of the day, I have Riku.
Yes, sirree, this is Riku. And I'm super duper hyped from series number 1. We've got Vanguard winning a 2-0 series. But this time around, we're going to be witnessing ExDee Gaming and FewGoodMen, which Luxuria mentioned how ExDee Gaming is one of the best teams in India at the moment. Plus, they're a bunch of Conqueror players, I've heard.
I think it's the full team of Conqueror. Wait, let me just think back on what production told me. Actually, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure they are a full bunch of Conqueror players, and they'll be going up against a FewGoodMen. Running through the roster first for ExDee Gaming, we have Blastoise, Hi, I'm Kaz, Dexter, Pain, and Cerberus. For the side of FewGoodMen, we have Langatron, Dank Flux, Apex, Aris, Morpheus, YT, and Rambo.
Interesting. The particular name that I actually found interesting was Rambo, and he's a marksman, so I wonder if he's gonna make some Rambo movements where he just dives in with the violet head on to like 5 players or something.
Well, you know, when I first got my mega kill, so this is a short story of when I first got my mega kill. I basically told my team to just stay behind, and I'm going in for a 1v5. And because we're winning, right? We're winning, and then you know you can type in chat. So I basically told the enemies that I'm coming in for a 1v5. Please give me my mega kill. It was a casual match. The enemies resisted, of course, but I still got my first mega kill with that of Violet. So I'm quite excited as to see if Rambo will be playing. But speculations aside, because draft is ready, so without further ado, let's just jump straight in to draft.
Exactly. Game number 1 here at this point for the second series of our show match. I'm really excited because I don't know if the series of composition that we've seen during the first one is the meta we have for India, but maybe it's the meta of the team itself, and we're just slowly seeing it unfold for now. But as you can see, here at this point, they're taking their sweet time with their picks. Man, Superman actually being open. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean, ExDee actually banned out the Wukong, so leaving Superman for themselves. And for the side of FewGoodMen, they are banning out the FewGoodWoman on AOV and picking up for themselves Zephys and the Joker. And just a cool tidbit. ExDee's pain. The first word, it's in kanji or Chinese character. It's love, so it's love pain. We have a masochist here, and then we have Cuz picking up Lindis, and of course Butterfly being picked up by Dexter.
Interesting. I know that Butterfly is a very, very popular pick. Mainly because she could easily snowball, play around with the resets, but come late game, she's not as effective. So most likely, if you pair it with a Lindis, most likely they are aiming for that early to mid game rotation. And with the Crixie, this is. Wow, I'm mind blown right now with the composition that ExDee is assembling at this point.
Well, I mean, look at the composition coming through from the side of ExDee Gaming with the Crixie. Crixie has got really good burst in that early game with your A into your combo and your ultimate as well. It's not too shabby. And of course, you have very good frontliners like that of Superman and Crashed. So the side of ExDee Gaming, it is a... let's put it in a very iffy comp, but if they can actually pull it off, it will be a ton of damage. As for the side of FewGoodMen, it looks a bit more meta per se, and on top of that as well, news just came in. So when you see Blastoise on the opponent's team, Alice is an instant bet.
Ooh, is he like very well known in solo queue or something with the Alice pick?
Well, I'm not sure if he or she is a pop star for Alice in solo queue, but all I know is that Alice instant ban if you see Blastoise. So, well, I don't think you can actually see your opponent's name in rank queues, but at least in competition, you know Blastoise is playing. You know the FewGoodWoman you have to ban out. To just try to have leverage for yourself, for your teammates.
Exactly. And I mean, it's also understandable if you are a very effective Alice player, because Alice, I feel like, is one of the really strong heroes in all regions in general. It really meshes well with a lot of team compositions, especially it allows you to pair up with your mid lane and your jungler with the assistance of your hissy fit, with your movement speed, as well as your stun. It's a great gank tool if you think about it, all of Alice's kit, and therefore if you assemble a really good 3-man squad during the early to mid phases of the game, then most likely you could potentially secure a kill, and then that could lead to an Abyssal Dragon, which is mostly one of the key factors on trying to set the tempo in the game in Arena of Valor in general.
Yep, and I've mentioned this before, Arena of Valor, a very quick-paced game. So Alice in itself, her kit, she has a friendship. So friendship basically provides a small health barrier, not the largest one I've seen, but a small health barrier, and on top of that, a really high burst of movement speed for her allies. So that will come in handy, and I guess that's why she's just went through a few changes throughout history. Since her birth, or since her being introduced into AOV, but she's seen some changes, and yet she's still so very strong. I mean, her silence, her slow, is just one of the more reliable ones in game.
Exactly, and looks like we're heading into our game number 1 for a second series, ExDee versus FewGoodMen. I wonder if they're gonna do the early game, what do you call this, invade here, and just try to steal that might buff away from the Joker, or from the Zephys rather. Oh, guess not.
Yep, they will just be playing it safe, go in for the first jungle camp, and then back off afterwards. So Love Pain, our favorite masochist, I mean Chrissy, is in the mid lane going up against a Joker, or rather Flux. So Chrissy, as we know, if you get too close, she can dish out a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. But Dexter now into this mid lane, trying to find something, goes in with an A, not quite connecting just yet, but all will be well. A Roma comp coming through from the side of XD as well, with Butterfly actually tagged along with Crashed.
Exactly. I think one of the things that you should look out for, we should all look out for when we see these compositions, is that what is your early game plan? Is your 3-man squad compatible? Is there heavy CC? Is there chain CC? Is there a right amount of damage when you reach level 4? On the previous series, the key factor, or jungler that was the enabler of that sort of play is the Cricknack. Once you reach level 4, there's a lot of burst damage going around, but this time around we're seeing a Crest, Crixie, and a Butterfly, potentially the 3-man squad that we're looking for. And for the side of for the side of the red side in this sort of composition for FewGoodMen, we see that a Thane, a Joker, and what do you think is their other man? Zephys, rather. There we go. Yeah, Zephys. But Sentinel actually being contested here.
Ooh, Sentinel getting being contested, and yet XD able to secure that, and on top of that, the first blood going to them as well. So XD really looking very well in this current rotation, and going for the AD right now, the Abyssal Dragon. So once again, we are seeing who is coming out on top, and this may just be another very, very objective-centered game, once again scaring the side of FGM away. FewGoodMen away, but oh, Pain in, a lot of pain going up against that of Alice, but Alice, ooh, next to go down, and now Sabra is going into a 1v2, but soon to be a 3v3. Cars going in deep, chasing down Joker. Will Cars be able to secure 1 kill, 1 more basic attack, and there you go. Another kill for the side of XD. Sage Golem will be taken by that of XD, and they have given up on the Abyssal Dragon, but they've picked up 2 other kills for themselves, and on top of that as well, remove the Sage Golem from the side of FewGoodMen.
Exactly, and I feel like you can see how brave XD is. I mean, Kaz on this Lindis obviously knows how to take advantage of the brushes just so that he could potentially chase that low health target on the opposition of FewGoodMen here, which is Flux, and that's something you don't see every day. The Lindis chasing the Joker out of towards your base and actually managing to land that kill. But in the meantime, they got the Sentinel, they got the Abyssal Dragon, and got a lot of kills. So that is just really huge for XD, and it's a very good tempo boost as well. And looking at what happened there earlier, they managed to create a great bait-mate situation where they managed to make them think that they could potentially get a pick off on that Crixie before anything else, but nope, the rest of the squad is there. Perhaps if the other members were on the Zephys side when that happened, then maybe they could have turned that thing around, but guess what? It's XD just really landing all the hurt.
Yep, and XD, as you can see from the minimap, they are rotating as a team, going top lane, bot lane, mid lane, and they are, the side of FGM, let's just put it simply, the side of FewGoodMen, they are simply at this point in time only reacting. But as I'm saying that, they actually managed to secure the Abyssal Dragon for themselves in the top lane, having a quick pick off, and that would be Lubu going down. Morpheus YT not quite able to handle 4-man going up onto the top lane. So once again, XD moving into the mid lane, trying to find Lugatron. Can Natalia actually pull it out and get out alive? And that is not so. Ultimate for the Butterfly. Butterfly getting really fat at this point in time, level 8, as compared to the jungler over to the side of FGM, which is the Zephys, only sitting at level 7.
Exactly, they're getting pretty much what they want, and they're trying to get these kills towards objectives, and more map control as well. And they really are playing their composition very well, taking advantage of the strength of the resets and how fast Butterfly farms, but they're getting a pick here into Apex with the Thane landing towards the tower, and it doesn't matter because that's 5 people at bot lane. Wait, what?
Woohoo! Apex actually made it out alive, although Chrissy used an ultimate So many skills being burned just to take down that Thane. Oh, but Butterfly jumps through the turret, able to pick up another kill for himself, and Cars on that Lindis once again going on to Lungitron. But Lungitron on Natalia, this time escaping death.
Oh my, Cerberus was... they didn't see that coming. I actually thought the Thane would have escaped at that point, but you know, we have the Kaz as well, just lurking around like an assassin as well on the Lindis, providing vision and providing support fire on that area as well. But again, looking at what's happening right now, a lot of aggressive rotations coming from ExDee, and they're so confident about it.
Great bait, man, Aries, you may just be going down. Superman is not alone. Morpheus, Whitey, you may just be next. Dexter on that Superman, really good at diving towers, able to pick up 1 kill for his team, but that is all that will be happening right now. Cerberus tries to go in for the Sage buff, but will be taken, however, by Flux. Cerberus in a very dangerous, precarious position right now, but will be able to back off. Another top turret going towards the side of ExDee. So ExDee, the rotations, it's very, very different as compared to that of Vanguard. They want their kills. They know how to secure these kills, give them the number advantage, and from there actually push objectives much, much faster. So they actually use the kills, translate them into objective rather than Vanguard. When Vanguard go, they do not want the kills. They just want objective, thus taking these objectives much, much slower.
Exactly, and I'm really happy to be able to like classify them looking at their playstyle, and it's really fun to identify certain teams' strength at this point. But nicely done on the CC. There's Pain landing all the hurt at this point, and Kaz getting a lot of damage from the Natalia, but they will respect that. Kaz actually low on mana at this point, and they'll just try to respect that and back away.
Yep, so much poke coming through from Quixie at this point, but once again, we are seeing not a lot of damage, right? As compared to, say, like Natalia, Quixie is one of those that you really need to land those combos. You are more of a supporty kind of mage, I would say, although you are like a true mage, but you are more of support. You have a stun, you have a knock-up, and on top of that, you have the area of effect, ultimate, that basically lands damage on everyone that's inside it. So you can actually delete squishies, but it takes much more of a time. So usually when I see people playing Quixie, they will play it as like a zoning kind of hero, where they'll just open up the ultimate, try to force everyone out or into another position where it's not just not good for the enemies. And now Darkslayer getting taken. It will be an easy take, and there you go. Darkslayer taken, has been killed by that of Cars, and with this buff they can just easily trump down that top lane, which they will be doing.
Exactly, no contest whatsoever, as a lot of members from FewGoodMen and that'll be a finish from Pain with the ult. Safe ults coming from the Quixie, but they definitely did not see that coming. There's so much damage on ExDee's side at this point that it's really hard to counter. Especially with the Darkslayer buff as well. Pain trying to land on some poke. But, you know, with two members, and Pain do not quite have the basic attack needed to take down the towers anyway, so they will just be camping there, hoping for a wave to push in. Dexter diving into this mid-tier turret, and the mid-tier, second-tier mid-turret will be falling, and all 5 members of the side of FewGoodMen really struggling to just keep a foothold in this particular game. Exactly, and the best thing about the Quixie and the Butterfly combo is that Quixie will always be there as your enabler, the the CC locker, and as well as keep a lot of enemies on. Oh my, look at the dive. Look at the dive indeed. Cerberus in a very dangerous position. Can Butterfly actually pick up 1 kill before going down? And that would not be the case. Lungitron making it back safe into that of the base. And now you have 1 man down. And the side of FGM really have the man advantage right now. They can't quite leave. They can actually just leave the base and try to pick another one off. Dexter dove a little too deep, followed by, you know, the help of Butterfly. But that wasn't quite needed because it was a very, very unnecessary dive. Exactly, and I'm actually pretty interested. The moment that I said that, you know, Butterfly and Quixie is a really good combo, Butterfly just jumps in solo. And the reason why I said that this is a good duo is that you got a lot of damage from Quixie, but not enough for the finish, and therefore Cerberus is there to support that, or to, to assist that, and therefore enable the resets for the Butterfly. But then again, the dive happened, but I feel like ExDee might be in a very comfy position to make that sort of play. So perhaps they're going to be a little bit more patient, maybe make a 5v5 team fight instead rather than a dive, zone them away, and then maybe take an objective, as that is the riskier play. They could take the safer play, like, you know, what Vanguard does in their previous series, but at this point, what do you call this, the red side at this point with FewGoodMen, they do have really good poke, especially with Joker and Natalia on their side, Lungitron and Flux as well, but all they have to do is aim for towers, zone, and probably try to make a pick.
Ooh, Apex in a very dangerous position. Blastoise actually goes in, Cars picking up that kill, and now the side of XD having the play advantage will be directing all the damage onto the core, but I take that back because Cerberus picking up 1 kill, a second kill going over to that of Dexter on that Superman, and that is the ace for the side of XD Gaming, and that would be the first game.
That was an insanely fast game. I mean, in comparison to the first series that we've seen, you can tell XD, just as you mentioned, they're really after all these kills, 2 objectives, and it's really one of the play styles that is really shining on the side of XD, and you could tell with their picks. They picked up a Butterfly, they picked up a Crixie for themselves, a Superman, and it's just really working in their favor. They definitely know where their power spikes lie, and it's fine for them to give away an Abyssal Dragon, and they prioritize topside, and they just kept pushing through this, and look what they did. They're just so confident with how much they have and how well they play as a team.
Yep, I mean, just looking at this replay, you can obviously tell the moment they are dedicated into a team fight, they just dive straight in. They have no hesitations, no whatsoever, and they just want to clear out the team. And this is the big difference between Vanguard and XD Gaming. But they also know the limitations of each and every hero they're playing. So there's one mistake that came through from the side of XD, and that's the butterfly dive. I think it was just some miscommunications coming out, but I don't think it's all that important, because at the end of the day, they are still able to put down pressure against FewGoodMen and still able to wait for Cerberus to come back, on the butterfly to come back, and then engage in a 5v5. Apex was a little too out of, you know, the formation for the FewGoodMen, got picked out first, and then it was just an easy clear afterwards.
Yeah, I feel like FewGoodMen had already a good comp as well. I mean, we talk about the three-man squad, which I feel like they couldn't execute well, mainly because there's a huge lead already on XD Gaming. They couldn't really find the right opportunity to make a pick. They did find that one instance where Crixie was sort of vulnerable, but at the same time they weren't able to finish, and they're the ones that suffered instead. And there's a lot of adjustments that could go through on our second game, and I feel like FewGoodMen just has to fix their early game and try to be a little bit more proactive when it comes to their rotations, because I feel like they do have a good composition. It's just that it's not really as maximized as what XD has done for themselves.
So this is, once again, there is a big difference, and I must emphasize over and over again, there's a big difference between proactiveness and reactiveness, right? Very similar words, but then reactiveness is when you do not have a plan on hand. All you're doing is just reacting to what opponents are doing, and that is oftenly a very, very bad thing, because you make mistakes, because you get baited, like what Crixie Payne actually did. You know, just lured everyone to the entire team, and then allow the team to actually pick up 1 or 2 kills in that early game. But we are right into draft right now. No need for wait, no need to announce, and we are seeing a Lindis coming through from the FewGoodMen as a bet.
Exactly, and maybe they just really respect how much that it enables so much, you know, utility and vision control on the side of what do you call this, of XD. But let's see what their priorities this time. Which is, I'm very happy to see a first pick blue side, first rotation Seniel. I imagine that could be a Zephys on the side of XD, maybe a Malak, maybe an Alice, but it's gonna be a Zuka instead. So Joker's still heavily prioritized in this meta for India, and I'm really happy to see what kind of playstyle they have. But I'm happy to see a Violet as well.
Oh yes, I am. I mean, she's the only hero I got my mega kill on. So hey, I am obviously happy, and I'm also happy to see a Rust coming into play. We mentioned and we talked about Rust briefly earlier on, and it's just the amount of outplay potential that Raz can actually put down, especially in that early game. And you can play Raz in multiple manners, basically the poke or the go in and take some damage, but then you kill some people as well. So a lot of gameplay would revolve around this Raz, I hope, because you know he will be the frontliner after all, and then obviously relying on healing coming out from Zenio. As for the side of ExDee though, we are seeing a Praetor. How do you think that will work out?
Praetor is definitely heavily reliant on great positioning. You are very, very vulnerable when you try to channel and power up your skills, and at the same time there's Cricknack that will be your worst enemy on the opposition. But if you do pick up this Alice, which they will not, which I feel like is also a good alternative. I mean, a Crash at this point still gives, you know, shields to your squad with that leap, and I feel like that's also a good alternative. At least you secure your damage output as well as the tankiness in comparison to the Alice kit. They're probably leaning more towards that, mainly because the play style of ExDee is definitely something more on the aggressive, sure kill, sure win type of thing. If we go in, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna finish it and no turning back whatsoever.
Exactly. So Crash, but if they're going to pick up the Alice, I know Blastoise is famed for his Alice. Issue with that is that, like you mentioned, Alice is not a good frontliner, although you have a Praetor. Praetor needs a very good, like, just front line, just to able to absorb the damage, and just able to allow Praetor to just pray from the back, I guess, right? So that is one thing that I'm really liking about ExDee's comp. However, I'm looking over at FewGoodMen's comp, I must say, obviously, I'm going to lean towards Violet because she's my bae, right? For this game. So I really hope they can play in a very different manner. Obviously, I have a good feeling that Violet will be placed in that of the jungle together with that of Aroma, and then with that, Violet can actually increase or rather get levels and of course gold as well in that early game, and hopefully able to just scale into the late game earlier on where Violet's damage output is. So for you, what do you think? For me, it's FewGoodMen. I hope they take this game. What about you?
FewGoodMen has a really good idea with their composition. I'm just really worried about how their three-man squad is going to be if their game plan is their early game rotations. But then again, they have the room to actually be reactive instead and try to punish out the aggression that ExDee Gaming has, because we have seen time and time again how brave they are in doing these invades and doing these buff steals here and there, and that's something, you know, they could potentially take advantage of, and they do have the kit for it. They do have the Thane on their side. They do have the Violet as well. I guess they also have the outplay potential with the Raz if played correctly, especially you do have the Flicker as well. That's an enabler of an outplay on your side if you're a very, very skilled Raz player. And mostly you could use it offensively, but with a composition on the side of ExDee that could maybe punish you, there's the Zephys, there's the Crush, there's the Joker. I feel like they're going to be a little bit more hesitant and maybe wait for the correct timing to make that sort of play.
Yep, so looking at the gameplay right now, so it is very, very different from the first game itself. First game, ExDee tried to go in for the invade, but ultimately backed off. But in this particular game, they are going for the more reserved kind of play, and then we are seeing now Pain, our favorite Panda, in that top lane. I keep wanting to say masochist, but anyways, so with Zuka as well, we were talking about this even before the stream started, that Zuka is highly prioritized in the Indian server as well as other servers because of how much reach that Zuka has on this Kung Fu Panda has, right? I mean, even Zenio, Zuka cannot even be considered a short-range hero. I mean, just look at the amount of reach he has, the mobility on Zuka, the tankiness as well. He makes for a perfect hero. Once again, ExDee Gaming with the 3-man, 4-man squad rotation.
Exactly, and that's actually being seen right now, and a lot of heavy divers as well. Especially if they reach level 4, I can't imagine how everybody's just gonna be leaping towards from the heavens and just stun locking you and just finishing you off. And I feel like that might be the game plan later on, especially if these 3 heroes that is hiding in the brush so patiently for like half a minute. As you can see, Kaz though is just gonna be going back to his own tower, but that was really interesting at the top side of the map.
That was. I mean, I was at first speechless. I was rooting for a gank coming through, but it didn't quite happen. But this Abyssal Dragon will be stolen by Kaz. Kaz in a very dangerous position, will be taken out by that of Flux. So good night, Joker. But why so serious, right? I mean, oh, Longitron in a very dangerous position. Blastoise will be catching him out as well as Pain. Raz with the uppercut, and that, well,
there we go.
At all, but that was the gank that the side of ExDee were waiting for, and they finally got.
Exactly. I mean, they just waited and probably found a consolation prize, which they did. They found the kill onto Longitron on the Raz, just as he was trying to retreat back to his own base or back to his own lane, which was the correct play because there's no chance for them to actually contest that Abyssal Dragon, mainly because the Joker was eliminated already, but he gets a kill at the bot side of the map while everything else was happening.
Well, I mean, the side of ExDee actually stole that Abyssal Dragon, or rather, Kaz was the one that stole the Abyssal Dragon. So, very impressive players coming out from the side of ExDee. Although Joker was at half health and shouldn't really be there. I mean, but it's a fair trade-off after all. You get Abyssal Dragon for your team, you die. In one of the other casters' words, you should kill yourself if you can get an important objective like that. So, we saw in the previous game, Crickneck actually put in a lot of work, but at this point, Crickneck is playing relatively safe, and I do understand why as well. It's just such a difficult comp to go up against, and now in the bot lane, as I'm saying that, Flux goes in for Kaz. Kaz taken down to a quarter health. Will Kaz be able to survive? And no, Joker will be going down. Cerberus going after that of Joker, sorry, Raz, and we'll be backing off. What is this? Okay, Flux in a very dangerous position, crash in, metamorphosized mode, and oh, that is a bit of BM, but he definitely knows that it's gonna fall, so all is well.
Oh, the B steps from these players are just, just fun to watch. But just in time, they managed to win that skirmish in the bot side of the map. Abyssal Dragon spawns, and that is going to be their second Abyssal Dragon. No contest whatsoever. I think the worrying trend for the side of A Few Good Men is that their lack of really good heavy CCs in comparison to ExDee, where they could just really chain lock everything and burst you down. On the side of A Few Good Men, it's just really sort of very reliant on, okay, I stun you once, maybe from the Thane, and then perhaps we could follow up with all the damage that we have coming from the Raz, coming from the Violet, but that's really hard to pull off. ExDee! Oh, the Panda, oh, the pain, oh no. You're down.
Panda, 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 bye-bye. So that happened while we were talking about all about that, and that is the issue right now. So in the first game between ExDee and FewGoodMen, we saw a more calculated play where where ExDee will go in for a confirmed kill, right? Or confirmed kills. Whereas for this one, maybe it's complacency that's getting the better of them, but at least they're still getting the objective. They have a turret to the name, a tower to the name, as well as 2 Abyssal Dragon. So you'll not phase them too much to lose a kill here or there. Oh, Longitron in a very dangerous position. Pain coming back for a revenge kill, but Morpheus is just putting down so much damage. Dexter able to pick up that of Raz from afar, and now Blastoise jumps in on that crash as well as Pain. That mobility from that Kung Fu Panda able to pick up another kill, and there you go, ExDee. That looks more like ExDee than anything else, and now Kaz will be going up against Apex. Blastoise coming down from the top. Will they actually converge into a fight, or will they just let Apex go off?
This is exactly what we're talking about, how there's a lot of CCs going around for ExDee. Even though you're just a 3-man squad or a 2-man squad, you're still fine. But if you pair it with, if on the side of Few Good Men, without the Thane, you can't really exactly properly set up without actually risking Longitron his own positioning. And at this point, they're starting a clash.
Yep, Cerberus going in quite deep. Apex, or rather Dexter, able to pick up Zeno first. And once again, Zeno, in every game that we've casted so far, first to fall. And now they have the man advantage. They can easily pick up this tier 2 turret if they actually really want to. Darkslayer is up as well. So they might actually just go for it, and they will be. So with this Darkslayer being picked up, they obviously have got a clear advantage. And this will put FewGoodMen in a very finicky position.
Exactly, and because of that force back, they're really, FewGoodMen just really has to respect that. Darkslayer already on their side. Abyssal Dragon is available for the taking as well, but because of the lead that ExDee Gaming has, they have so much room, so much other things to take away from the map, and that's just going to be, you know, FewGoodMen playing defense and just waiting for them to do any aggressive plays that maybe they could potentially take advantage of, try to make the punish plays. But at this point, we've seen how ExDee Gaming, despite maybe losing like one person, they can still be able to get back into the game and probably finish off, maybe take an ace. But Zuka is just pressuring the top side of the map at this point, while the rest are farming and shoving down the waves, which is really good. Pain almost dying there, but he's gonna be A-okay.
In a lot of pain though, so ExDee, 3 turrets to them, 3 towers in the name, 1 Darkslayer and 3 Abyssal Dragon. They are definitely looking for the snowball, and it's already happening. 20.5k to 15k gold. The side of ExDee just looks so difficult to take down right now, and we see out of nowhere Cars picking up Crickneck for himself. Flux maybe a little too overextended, and once again the side of ExDee has the man advantage. They can just put down so much pressure in all of the lanes, and they actually pick the mid lane, and they might just be able to take this turret.
Exactly, a lot of pull coming down and a lot of dive potential as well. You've got the Preda on your side so that you could really easily clear the waves and just focus down the turret, and then be able to just most likely poke as well with the Joker. So that's easy taking on that high ground tower as well. Meanwhile, Zuka just split pushing at the top side of the map, which is the correct play because they managed to create a pick on Crickneck earlier. And they're just very clean and calculated at this point. They're going safe in comparison to game number 1.
Yep, they are going very safe, but Cars in a very dangerous position. Flux may be on the chase, a slow lens, but will they continue with this team fight? Pain coming in from the back, Dexter with the a bit of life steal coming through for Dexter, recovering him back to, Cerberus in a very dangerous position. Flux may just be going in onto Cerberus. Let's see who would actually win this out. Cars coming in from the back, and Cerberus, with a slither of helms, picked up that of Flux. Apex now and Antaris going up against Pain and the entire team of ExDee. So much health barrier on that crash when he uses Metamorphosis, and this might just be an easy clean out for the side of ExDee if they play their cards right. And 1 kill, the 2nd kill, and this is the ace and possibly the game. What am I even talking about? It's not possibly the game, it is the game for the side of ExDee.
And there you have it. ExDee Gaming wins 2-0 against FewGoodMen, and that with a good, interesting finish as well, with that 1v1 at that brush on the Zephys and what do you call this? Zephys. Who was he fighting again? The Crickneck there earlier. It was really interesting. I thought the Crickneck could have won that, but I guess due to the level gap, 14 versus 11, and
just look at the replay.
Exactly. This is what happened. This is what went down.
Ooh, Cerberus, that kill with a slit of hell, that was pretty amazing. But with life still in his kit, rather in his items, and Crickneck not having, it's kind of expected after all. And after which, man advantage, pushed down, played it right, and easily picked up Apex first, followed by Antaris, and there you go. That was a pretty clean game, I must say, for the side of ExDee Gaming. They did themselves pretty well.
Exactly. They finished all the high ground towers before actually hitting the core, and that's how, just as you mentioned, how clean they were, but still very confident in how they play their composition. And based on what we've seen from game number 1 and game number 2 in that series, they're the type of team that's very flexible in their drafts and everything. So it's kind of hard to really prepare and play around this best of 3 series that they've, went up against.
Well, I mean, what can you do if a player can play everything?
That is true. Exactly.
Right? I thought it would be like Blastoise would be a one-trick Alice. If you put Blastoise onto anything else, then he'll not play as well. But that is not the case. I thought Pain might just be a one-trick Quixie, but that is not the case. Pain can play the Painful Panda too. And basically, the entire team of XD was just so very well prepared coming into this particular show match. So, you know, there's a lot to take away, especially as a caster. I play the game as well. And I know I'll never be playing as well as XD Gaming. looking at it, it inspires me, you know, because although they were pretty shaky in the early game, right? They were just returning kills back and forth, but they were making a lot of right decisions. So much so as to, you know, give them that advantage over that of FewGoodMen.
Yeah, it's all about learning or knowing your strengths and your compositions, when your spikes are going to be, and where your team is going to be, because there are some teams that prioritize that early Abyssal Dragon, but there are some teams that would just prefer to pressure topside perhaps, and then it's okay to give away the first Abyssal Dragon as long as we gain control of the other parts of the map instead. And sometimes it works, because you know, if you know the enemy squad, you know where it hurts, and that's something that could throw them off, because maybe they're the type of team that just focuses on bot side, then maybe let's hit where their weakness is and stuff like that. So it was just really interesting to be casting these sets of matches, because I entered blindly know what is the meta here for India, and I'm just really happy to see, because it seems like a very colorful meta so far.
It is a very diverse one. We heard a lot of things, that it'll be a tank-centric like the other regions. We heard that, you know, ADC is just, we heard a ton of things about this particular meta. I mean, I'm coming into here blind as well, although I have very good ping in the Indian server, and I might just start playing on this particular server because of how diversified and how versatile the players are. But just quickly run through the matches that we've seen today and who won what. For our first match, we had Dejavu going up against NatusVanguard. Dejavu, it was Vanguard that actually won 2-0, and for our second match, or the match that you've just seen, it would be ExDee Gaming going up against FewGoodMen, and ExDee Gaming pretty confidently won that 2-0.
Exactly. All the teams obviously have their own identity in terms of their play style and their compositions, and I love the diversity I've seen so far, and I absolutely cannot wait to see, you know what's coming, Luxuria.
Well, what's coming? What's coming is one thing that I mentioned about in the earlier part of the stream, and that would be the Tesseract Esports Arena of Valor League, brought to you by Tesseract Esports, of course, and Tencent Games. The prize pool would be 19,000 Indian rupees, and of course 10,000 worth of vouchers. The applications are closed, however. It's closed, right? So I'm excited to see what teams will be in this when we actually finally cast for it. What about you, Riku?
Yeah, same here actually, because being able to cast the show matches is just a really, really short preview of what to expect in terms of the meta. I feel like it's just gonna solidify and just really show its true colors once we head on over to the Tesseract Arena Valor League for India, and I'm just really, really excited how it's gonna pan out. I mean, that's 32 teams. That's crazy for the league, and I'm just really, really excited how it's gonna pan out, especially when we reach, for example, like just we're down to 18 teams or something, top 8 and stuff like that, because that's where we're gonna see, and I believe more heroes are gonna arrive, because in comparison to the other regions, there's still so much more to be added, and I'm just really looking forward to the scene in India as well.
Yep. So okay, so we are pretty excited ourselves, and I just received news. The graphics that you may have on screen, it says application closed on April 28th, but that is not the case, because we have extended our application to the 2nd of May. So that is the last day for applications, and the competition, the league, will be starting from the 3rd of May to 13th of May. You do not want to miss anything at all, because I think it will be streamed on here, and I'll be really looking forward to cast for those matches. Like Riku have mentioned, it will be exciting. I mean, just a glimpse of the Indian meta, and I'm getting pumped already.
Exactly. So such an honor to be casting here, Luxuria and Tesseract Esports and everybody watching, and looking forward to the Tesseract Arena of Valor League for India.
Yep, so thank you, all of you, for tuning in to watch this show match. And of course, a bigger thank you to the producers, the production, and unsung heroes that speaks into our ears every now and then. And of course, the biggest thank you will be going to Riku, my caster, the one and the only, the most wonderful, Riku. All right, that is all that's from us today. My name is Luxuria, and we'll see you very soon.
To fight the greatest battle, you need the greatest warriors. But heroes must be forged in ultimate combat, competing for the ultimate prize.